And I'm joined now by House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Leader Jeffries, thank you for joining us. Let me start right there with the Epstein files. The administration was required by law to release them all on Friday. Are they in compliance with that law?
Well, the survivor of the Epstein nightmare deserves full and complete transparency. They've been advocating with such courage and bravery. Congress has acted decisively, bipartisan majorities in both the House and the Senate, bills signed into law by the president. And it does appear, of course, that this initial document release is inadequate. It falls short of what the law requires. Now, the statute requires the so-called Department of Justice at this moment within 15 days to provide a written explanation to Congress and to the American people as to why they've withheld certain documents. We expect that written justification should be transmitted within the next week or so, and then Congress can take it from there as it relates to determining why this non-compliance has occurred.
Your Democratic colleague, Ro Khanna, said that, that if the Justice Department is not in compliance, and he clearly believes that they are not, that there should be impeachment proceedings for Attorney General Pam Bondi. Do you think that's is that on the table?
Well, I think there needs to be a full and complete explanation and then a full and complete investigation as to why the document production has fallen short of what the law clearly required. And so the next step in the process is going to be that written justification to try to explain to Congress, to the survivors most importantly, and to the American people why things have apparently fallen short of what the statute requires in terms of turning everything over from the Department of Justice investigatory files.
And let me turn to health care, obviously a central issue for Democrats as Congress leaves town. You have successfully forced a vote in the House, which will happen in January, on a 3-year extension of those Obamacare tax credits. That, I assume, will pass in January. All things stay the same. But the Republican leader in the Senate has already said it's dead on arrival.
Well, the Republican leader in the Senate is not serious about protecting the health care of the American people. The clock is ticking. No more excuses. Republicans have been burying their heads in the sand for the last several months. Meanwhile, tens of millions of Americans are on the brink of experiencing dramatically increased health insurance premiums if the Affordable Care Act tax credits are not extended. We're talking about, in some instances, folks who are going to experience premiums that will increase by $1,000 or $2,000 per month. 90% of the people who rely on the Affordable Care Act tax credits make around $63,000 per year. These are working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans. And House Democrats are going to continue to fight to get this extension through the Congress on our side. It will pass with a bipartisan majority, and then that will put the pressure on John Thune and Senate Republicans to actually do the right thing by the American people, pass a straightforward extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits so we can keep health care affordable for tens of millions of Americans who deserve to be able to go see a doctor when they need one.
So some Republicans, including my next guest, Senator Rand Paul, have argued that extending those subsidies leads to higher premiums, that the system needs to be reformed, that we have health care costs across the board that are going up, even putting aside these tax credits. Does he have a point? Does there need to be reforms to keep health insurance premiums down?
Well, life is too expensive in the United States of America, and things have actually gotten worse under Donald Trump's presidency. He promised to lower costs on day one. Republicans promised to lower costs on day one. Costs aren't going down, they're going up. That's health care costs. That's housing costs that are out of control. Child care costs are out of control. Utility bills, electricity costs are out of control, of course, and grocery costs are out of control. So there are a variety of different things that need to be done. As Democrats, we're promising to focus relentlessly on driving down the high cost of living to make life more affordable for everyday Americans and to fix our broken healthcare system, which Republicans have been damaging in an extraordinary way throughout the year, including by enacting the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. And because of Republican policies in their one big ugly bill, we know hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country, including in rural America. Working class Americans are being hurt. Black and brown Americans are being hurt. Small town America is being hurt. The heartland of America is being hurt. And yes, we need to fix our broken healthcare system.
But Leader Jeffries, on the question of rising prices and the stewardship of the economy, clearly the public is saying they're not satisfied with Donald Trump. They don't approve of him. But actually, the Democrats in recent polls are actually faring worse than the Republicans. Take a look at a Quinnipiac poll out just this week. Shows that Democrats have their lowest approval rating in the poll's 15-year history. Only 18% give Democrats a high approval rating in the handling of the economy. Only 18%, 73% disapproval. What are you doing wrong?
Well, clearly that's an outlier poll. Listen, the most significant indicator of public sentiment is, are you winning elections or are you losing elections? And on that front, Democrats have been winning elections since January, a special election in Iowa where we flipped the seat that Donald Trump had just won by 21 points. Of course, winning the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race in April, a swing state, a state that Donald Trump had just won. The Democratic candidate wins by 11. Flipped the mayorship in Omaha for the first time in 12 years. And then, of course, last month, during the off-year elections, winning decisively in Virginia, in New Jersey, in New York, in Mississippi, in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, Prop 50 in California, and then most recently, 2 weeks ago, flipping the mayorship in Miami for the first time in nearly 30 years. And Eileen Higgins will be the first woman mayor of Miami ever. These results aren't ambiguous. They're not unclear. They are unequivocal that the American people are rejecting Republican extremism and embracing our affordability agenda.
All right. Leader Hakeem Jeffries, thank you for joining us.